Apple is about to ship a phone with a smaller dynamic island, a variable aperture camera, and a color called dark cherry. And only one of those three things is coming to both Pro models. That last part is either genius or a mistake Apple will quietly undo in 12 months. I've been going deep on every credible leak ahead of the iPhone 18 Pro launch, and there's one decision Apple is making this year that I genuinely think will backfire. We'll get there. The iPhone 18 Pro launches next month. Every credible leak is now pointing in the same direction, and the picture is getting clear. Three design updates, one camera upgrade that's exclusive to the Pro Max, new colors, headlined by something called dark cherry, and a naming debate that I think Apple is losing even before the phone ships. Here's everything in the order it actually matters. Let's start with the thing that bothered people most about the iPhone 17 Pro, the two-tone back, glass on top, aluminum frame below, different shade, not the same color. And if you're in the camp that thought that looked like a phone that couldn't decide what it wanted to be, Apple apparently heard you. The iPhone 18 Pro is reportedly getting a redesigned rear glass that minimizes the color difference between the glass panel and the aluminum frame. A unified, seamless look, one color all the way around. Honestly, that's how it should have been from day one. The two-tone thing felt like a manufacturing compromise that got marketed as a design choice, and I'm not buying that. Now, the Dynamic Island, Apple introduced it 4 years ago with the iPhone 14 Pro, and for 4 years, it has been exactly the same size. Every year, rumors about a smaller dynamic island. Every year, same dynamic island until now. The iPhone 18 Pro is reportedly shipping with a dynamic island that's about 35% smaller. Some of the Face ID components are being moved under the display, but not all of them. So no, it's not going to a hole punch cutout. Not yet, but 35% smaller is not nothing. That's real screen estate back in your hands. And here's the third design change, the one that might actually drive purchase decisions. Colors. And Apple did something unexpected with the iPhone 17 Pro. It got bold. Cosmic orange happened. People loved it. And it basically proved that iPhone Pro buyers don't just want gray and white and space anything. They want something they actually want to look at. So for the iPhone 18 Pro, Apple is reportedly leaning further into that. At least three colors confirmed by leaks: dark cherry, silver, light blue, and possibly space gray, making a quiet comeback as a fourth option. Dark cherry is the headline. Leakers describe it as a mix of burgundy, coffee, and deep purple. It's expected to be the color Apple leads with in marketing. Now, I've seen fake cases already circulating, the kind that leak out of China weeks before launch, built from CAD files and supplier molds. And what stood out was a clear case tinted light blue and a tech woven case in cherry red. These are fake cases, but the molds are real. The colors match the rumors. And dark cherry in a tech woven finish, that's going to sell. Okay, this is the part of the iPhone 18 Pro story that actually changes things. Apple is adding a variable aperture to the main camera for every iPhone since the 14 Pro. The main camera has sat at a fixed aperture of 1.78. Fixed, meaning the lens is always fully open. No adjustment, no control, you get what you get. With a variable aperture, the iPhone 18 Pro Max could let you actually shift the aperture the way you would on a real camera. Wider aperture for low light and background blur, narrower aperture for sharper, more detailed shots in bright conditions, more control, more creative flexibility. And I want to be honest here, how useful this actually is depends entirely on how Apple implements it. Knowing Apple, it'll probably be 90% automated. You won't be manually dialing in f-stops in your camera app, but even automated variable aperture means the camera is making smarter decisions than it could before. And that is a real upgrade. Here's where it gets complicated. According to leaker Ice Universe, the variable aperture is exclusive to the iPhone 18 Pro Max. The smaller Pro reportedly doesn't get it, which means for the first time since the iPhone 15 Pro cycle, the two Pro models are not the same phone in different sizes, and that creates a problem. Here's the thing about calling a phone Pro Max. Max implies more size, more battery, but not more capability. When Apple gave the iPhone 12 Pro Max a larger sensor and the 15 Pro Max a 5 times zoom that the smaller Pro didn't have, people were frustrated. Not because the Pro Max was better, because they had to choose between the size they wanted and the feature they wanted. And then, quietly, a year later, both models got the same features again every time. Apple upgrades the smaller Pro to match, which means the Pro Max exclusivity was always temporary. So, what happens this year? Plenty of people skip the iPhone 18 Pro. They wait. They know the variable aperture hits the smaller model next year. Modern phones are good enough to last one extra year. That is a real sales problem. Here's the argument that's been circulating, saying, and I think it's actually compelling, Apple should drop the Pro Max name entirely and call this the iPhone 18 Ultra, not just as a marketing move, but because it's honest. If the Pro Max has a camera feature, the Pro doesn't. It's not just a Max, it's a different phone. Name it accordingly. And look at the competitive landscape right now. Samsung has the Galaxy S27 Ultra, Xiaomi, Vivo, Oppo, all chasing the Ultra positioning. Apple's only Ultra product right now is the foldable iPhone, which reportedly launches alongside the 18 Pro. Imagine Apple's foldable called the iPhone Ultra, and Samsung's equivalent foldable is just the Galaxy Z Fold 8. While Samsung simultaneously has two other phones with Ultra in the name, in the name. That's an awkward conversation for Apple's marketing team. An iPhone 18 Ultra with an exclusive camera, bigger display, bigger battery, and a name that reflects all of that solves the problem cleanly and justifies the price increase that's almost certainly coming with it. So here's where I land. The design changes are genuinely good. Unified color, smaller dynamic island, dark cherry, all of it is the right direction. No complaints. The variable aperture is real progress. But making it exclusive to one model is a decision Apple will either commit to or quietly walk back by next fall. History says they walk it back. And the name, I think iPhone 18 Ultra makes more sense than anything Apple is currently rumored to be doing. It's honest, it's competitive, and it gives people who want the biggest, best iPhone a reason to feel like they bought something distinct, not just a stretched version of the same phone. If you care about camera performance above everything else, the Pro Max, or whatever Apple ends up calling it, is the obvious answer. If you want the best possible iPhone in a more manageable size, and you can live without variable aperture for one cycle, the iPhone 18 Pro is still going to be an excellent phone. But here's the question I keep coming back to. If Apple does call it the Ultra, does that actually change your decision? Or is it just a name? Let me know, because I think the answer says a lot about where the premium phone market is actually headed.